Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're going to take a walk down a single, pretty famous street in the city of Surrey. It's called Gharen Street. Now, that's a name thousands of people see every single day. But behind that simple sign, there's this incredible story of myth, of history, and really, a city's dual identity. Okay, so let's get right into it. For all the people who live and work and just drive on this street every day, do they have any idea who or even what Gharen was? Well, it turns out the answer isn't so simple. It's this fascinating mix of a huge national legend and some super specific local history. You see, the name's origin isn't just one straight line. It's more like two different threads that have been woven together over time. One of those threads comes from the world of epic mythology, and the other? It comes from the very real history of the land this street is built on. So first, let's meet the Quran of legend. If you know anything about the Shahnameh, the great Persian epic poem, then you definitely know this name. This Gharen is the son of Kaveh the blacksmith, and he is the absolute classic hero, a powerful warrior who fought right alongside other huge champions like Tus and Gudars. He's a figure of national pride, the kind of hero they tell epic stories about. But, and this is the big twist, there was another very real Gharen. So on the one hand, you've got this mythical hero from a poem, but on the other, you have a historical commander, an Espa Habud from the Karen or Garanvan dynasty. And get this, he was a powerful ruler right there in Tabarstan, which is the historical region where the city of Sari is. Yeah, to really get a feel for this historical Galaran, you kind of have to picture his world. Imagine those long nights in Tabaristan, the fog rolling in, the dense forest. This wasn't some storybook kingdom. It was a real place, and it had a real leader defending his people and his land. His name was Galaran, and he was a big deal. So how does that happen? How does a powerful commander from centuries ago end up as a modern street sign? Let's trace that connection from his legacy all the way to that landmark. The process is actually pretty straightforward when you think about it. It all starts with a local hero, a figure whose legacy just sticks around. Then a city like Sari starts to grow, and you've got all these new streets that need names. Well, what better way to honor your local heritage than to name them after your own regional heroes? And that's the key here. The name Gharen was almost certainly chosen as a direct shout-out to the historical commander of Tabaristan, basically stamping local history right onto the city map. Okay, so that's the history. But what about right now? What happens when those old stories start to fade and only the name is left? What do the actual people walking on Gharen Street today think it all means? Well, the answers are, honestly, they're both hilarious and super revealing. Just listen to this first one. When somebody was asked who Gharen was, they guessed he was an old footballer. I mean, it's a perfect example of how our brains work, right? We naturally reach for something more recent, something familiar, and sometimes that completely overwrites centuries of history with, pop culture. Now, this next answer gets so close to one of the truths. This person was like, no way, he's from the Shahnameh. And they're not wrong. But what's fascinating is that they've connected the street to the famous national myth, while probably missing the equally important local historical guy who the street is actually named for. And then there's this one, which is maybe the most honest and relatable answer of them all. I don't know, I just know the traffic is heavy. This just brilliantly sums up how the daily grind, the commute, the noise, the hustle and bustle can completely wash out the deep stories that are literally written into the names of the places we live. So, here's the big takeaway. Gharen Street isn't just a place you look up on a map. It's a cultural crossroads. It's a footprint where this huge national mythology and this very specific local history come together and meet. That name carries the weight of an epic hero and a regional commander, and it perfectly captures the layered identity of Sari itself, a whole world of stories right under your feet. And all of this kind of leaves us with one last thought. Every single town, every city has its own Gharen streets. Names we pass by every day without even thinking about them. So the real question to take away from all this is, what stories are hidden in the streets of your city? Thanks for tuning in.